Yo, yo. Yo, yo. Can you hear me okay, Sans? Perfect. Unbelievable. Good stuff. First time I've ever got it working straight out the gate. So making progress here. And as my picture looks like it's really sharp and grainy. Is that right? Just going to double check this here on the other screen. Oh. We're 5 minutes early here, so just hang out. If there's anyone else joining, couple of minutes early here, and then I'm going to just send a reminder out on my Instagram story, and then we can get going. Welcome, welcome. If you've just joined, say hello in the chat, introduce yourself. Welcome, welcome, people. Did you finally check out Visual Arc? I'm going to have a checkout in a minute. Welcome, people. Thanks, Preet. Hello, hello, M. I'm going to get your questions in just a minute. We're going to kick off proper just after 8. In the meantime, if you want to fire a question in now, it's all good. If you've just joined, hello, hello. Just a bit early tonight. I just wanted to make sure the mic was in good working order. And now I'm going to just check. Oh, yeah, cool. My face isn't all crazy. I mean, it is, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Cool, cool. I'm gonna leave a little note in here now. Yeah, gonna start in about 5-6 minutes. You guys working late tonight? Welcome, Elon. How are you doing? Elon, am I saying your name correctly? Can you correct me on that finally? Rebecca told me it was Elon. Is it? Is that the way? Because I know it's an Irish name, and I should know better, but I worried I never pronounce it correctly. Keep me honest, Elon. We're gonna go get stuck in proper in about 5 minutes. So welcome, people. If you've just joined, say hello. I'm just gonna share a link here on my story, just so that people can join the best live stream of the week. Because I think that's important. People should know. Oh. Copying the link. Elon, but it doesn't really matter. Everyone has their own interpretation. Hi, Nathaniel. Love from Canada. How are you doing, Nathaniel? So is it like Elon? Because my name's the same, obviously, Rick. So, but people in Ireland say it differently too. And then everywhere I work and everywhere I live, everyone says my name differently. Okay, Elon. Okay, sorry. You know, I knew there was something wrong calling it Elon. Elon. Okay, all good. I'm gonna share this now. Doing good. Competition grind at the moment. Oh boy. Competition grind. You know, in a bit of a competition grind myself at the moment. Clearly not working on it right now, but considering doing competition stuff. I'll get into that in a minute. I need to get this photo right here. So, like I said, chat, if you're just joining, welcome. And I'm gonna be kicking off proper in about 5 minutes. So just let some people join. I see your question there, Em. I will get to it. Plenty to talk about on Helsinki if you guys got questions about it. If you're just joining, say hello. Tell me where you're from. What are you working on tonight? We're going to get stuck in properly in a few minutes. Okay, so M, I have a question. Why do you think they chose Kuma over City, Sky, and Sea? Yeah, I was thinking about making this a Helsinki specific video because I don't know if you guys know this, but all of the entries are live again back on the website. You can see all of the original PDFs. And I was wondering if it would be fun to go through some of them. And then I realized, are you crazy, Cal? You've already gone through them all so many times. Why would you keep doing that? But I don't know. People have been asking me more and more about it. I don't want to just do Helsinki forever. But it's funny because a week ago on this channel, I was like, people were asking, are you going to do another Helsinki video? And I was like, no. And then I did another one, and then you all loved it. So I might just be tied to the Helsinki competition forever. Oh, how are we doing, people? I see some people are joining in now. Gonna get started at 8:05. So get your questions in, introduce yourself, tell me how you're doing. We'll get started proper. Welcome, welcome, people. I think this is the 4th live stream that I've done now. And the numbers are pretty good considering I'm like a baby YouTuber. What are we looking at? 7 here now at the minute. I think my peak concurrent people in the room, 8 now, was something like 25. I wonder if we get 25 tonight. Because eventually I'm going to run out of things to talk about. But I do appreciate you guys who keep coming, keep showing up with your good questions. For really good questions, just making sure that's gone out there properly. We're 8 people. We're going to get going in 3 minutes. Welcome. If you've just joined, say hello. If it's your first time here, hello. Welcome. Oh, get your architecture questions in. Oh, yeah. Okay. Since I did see that one, actually, I'm reading that now. The thing is that I saw your recommendation last week. I just don't use Grasshopper. Nabi, welcome. Let's talk games. Oh, let's talk games. Careful, Nabi. Nabi, you were here last week, right? You had like the banger film suggestions, or was I confusing that with somebody else? In any case, welcome, Nabi. I'll get your question in a couple of minutes. We're going to start in a few minutes. Welcome, people. We're going to get going in a minute. Introduce yourself, say hello, just so I can see who's there. It's strange. It's like I can't see who's here until you say hello. So I know some of you join and like to just watch, and that's all good. It's just I'll not know you were here, which is a shame. Unless you tell me in a couple of weeks that you were in a live stream of mine once and you didn't let me know. I was like, couldn't give you a shout out. Maybe there's a way though to see who joins. But then again, I don't want to deter any lurkers out there. Oh, Trent Allen's back. Hello, busy with an assignment. I mean, yeah, that's the life of it. I love it that you guys are busy and still show up. I appreciate it. I mean, obviously, like I'm way more entertaining than your assignments. You might even learn more from me as well. That's a dangerous thought. Okay, one more minute and I'll get into the questions. So if you're joining, hello, introduce yourself, and I'm going to get into the housekeeping in a minute. Oh, Thursday, though, almost the weekend, unless you are actually a student, in which case you don't really get weekends. Or if you're a practicing architect, in which case many of you also don't get weekends, but it is what it is. You do it because you love it, right? That's what we do it for, because we love it. We love architecture. Okay. Just one more minute. We almost have 10 people in the chat. That's a good place to start. Okay. How are we doing here? Let's see. Right. Since okay. I'll get to your question in a sec. Give it one more minute. Okay. Right. Okay. Bit of housekeeping before we get into it. Just the same as always, really. Get your questions in, introduce yourself, and do me a favor. If you haven't subbed to the channel, hit me up with a sub now. That's it. That's all I ask for. I'm gonna put another reminder out at the end, but you know, that's just the sort of business I'm in right now. Giving away all this knowledge for free, just hanging out, just doing it for fun. Just click the sub button, hit the sub button, and that's it. And again, the absolute bare minimum monetization settings are probably on in this stream. You might get an ad roll. Sorry about that, but still learning how this all works. Okay, people, thanks for showing up again. Got a few questions here, so we'll just kick it off now. It's 8:05. Okay, so since did I finally check out Visual Arc? At this point, I'm an evangelist for Grasshopper and Visual Arc. I was just saying there, I don't really use Grasshopper. That's the thing. So it's like, no doubt, I absolutely trust your recommendation. But let me see here. Check it out myself. Visual Arc. I know I looked at this last week. Tell me why it's good. Tell me why I should use it. It is a commercial architectural BIM software that works as a plugin for Rhino. Okay, I have used Rhino. But why is it better? This is the thing I deal with a lot now, is that there's so many different software plugins and different products. And it's like I don't really know where to start. Like, it used to just be AutoCAD for 2D and SketchUp for 3D, and now it's just everything all the time. And at the end of the day, all we're just making PDFs, right? We're just making PDFs. So it's not that it doesn't matter. It does matter. I see what you're like. I understand. I love that you're passionate about it, but I'm always just kind of like, I don't know. I don't think I really love, what software I love? Procreate. Procreate's my favorite software. I know it's not architecture software, it's drawing software, but still, like, I don't know. There's something about it. It's just perfect to me. I just think it's super quick and easy to use. It's very intuitive. There's like next to no barrier for entry. Like, if you're a child and you can just do finger painting, then you could just use Procreate. Well, I guess you need an iPad, I suppose. But yeah. Sorry, Sense. Let me know though if like, tell me why. Tell me why. M says hello. Preet says the mic's good. It's good, fantastic, good to know. Elon, yep, we've talked about it, but I have the same thing. People pronounce my name differently all the time as well. It's not that it's a curse of having an Irish name. It just comes with it. And I mean, like, the girl Irish names are even more difficult for people to say. So I guess we got off easy. But Elon, noted. Nathaniel Barry, doing good competition grind at the moment. What about you? Yeah, I think I'm putting together a competition bid at the minute. Clearly, I'm not doing it right now, but I'm doing it in the background. Like background processing, just kind of thinking about it, but I haven't really produced it yet. If you can tell us about it, Nathaniel, what's your competition about? What's up? Like, is it for yourself? Is it for a company you're working for? It's okay if you can't give us any specific details, but let us know. Elon again, no worries, given it's Irish, there's at least 4 ways the word is taught around the island. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know. It is what it is. M has a question. Why do you think they chose Kuma over City, Sky, and Sea? I still don't really know the answer to that. I have a hunch, but I think it has more to do with, I mean, I have a very obvious suspicion why, but I'm gonna double check something first before I say what I'm gonna say. Let me just double check their Instagram actually. It should be here 1 second. Welcome, people. If you're just joining, say hello. Okay, so City, Sky, and Sea. Yeah, look, I'm just gonna say it, and apologies if this is like a really impolite thing to say or very non-PC, but I think they picked Kuma because the architects were Finnish. Like, is that a bad thing to say? I don't mean to, like, and I think personally, I think that's a valid position to take if you're in the jury. Is that a controversial thing to say? chat. Like, if you're designing a new architecture and design museum for Helsinki, you'd want a Finnish practice involved, which really comes down to the big problem I have with the competition is then why did you make it an open international competition? Like, I made this point on an Instagram post a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's crazy that you needed to, check the entire world of architecture to discover that the architect that you wanted was at home all along. Bit weird, right? Don't know. So I'm seeing that the architects behind City, Sky, and Sea, City, Sea, and Sky, they are Portuguese in Belgium. And it's very difficult, right? Because if anybody watched the video that I put out this week about my review of the final five, and I didn't realize this until I published it, my enthusiasm is so high for the second place entry that when it comes to reviewing the first place one, I just don't have the same energy. And that says a lot, right? That clearly, like, my preference was for the second place winner. And I'm not the only person to have said that, obviously. I mean, that seems to be the trend. A lot of people much prefer the second prize winner to the first prize winner. But what I'm getting at is, yeah, I mean, that's a good point you're making there. I thought maybe they thought City, Sky, and Sea was too good. It's funny, right? Because obviously I loved it, but is it the best piece of architecture like I've ever seen? And I'm describing architecture buildings that haven't been built necessarily, but is it the best piece of like? Well, this is the thing, right? And I need to make another video. I need to make one last video in Helsinki, okay? And it's going to be a debrief on the entire competition. But it really comes down to, yeah, the 5 shortlisted entries, those projects did look great, but they were also awarded the budget and the time to develop the project. Do you see what I mean? So there are projects that I know finished in, let's say, the top 100 who also would have done just as much good work, arguably, as City, Sky, and Sea had they been given the money and the time. And the thing that really stood out to me reviewing the top 5 was that, and I think I do say this in the video, and guys, like, for as much as I absolutely love City, Sky, and Sea, like, I love it, I don't remember reviewing the stage 1 submission. Like, I legit don't remember what it looked like. In other words, it was obviously good at the time, but it made next to no impression on me. And I think the same thing applies to the 5th place and the 4th place. The only 2 in that top 5 that I actually remember were Moby and Kuma. I remember Kuma because I talked about Kuma quite a bit, and I was pretty critical of Kuma at the time. It's just sort of like I didn't want to spend a year reviewing 623 projects and then just shit on the winner. There's no value in doing that. It's just, it was remarkable to me that the drop off from 2 to 1, even just in my live reaction doing the reviews, was, I noticed it watching it back, and I feel like people who watched the video noticed it as well. And I feel kind of bad on the winning architects, JKRMM, who, like, amazing architects. Like, I literally don't have a bad word to say. It's just, how do you go from 2 to 1? So to answer your question, because I've been talking here for about 10 minutes about it, I literally just think they wanted a Finnish team. And I think that's their right to do that if that's what they want. I mean, I'm Irish, right? I'd like Irish architects to be involved in an architecture and design museum for Ireland. Why would I not? Of course I would. I don't know. What do you think? Is that a controversial thing? Is that a controversial thing to say? Maybe. Let's see. I'm happy to keep having this conversation though, because I don't mind talking about Helsinki at all. If you've just joined, welcome. Introduce yourself. Get a question in. I'm going to hang around until 9 my time, so I'll be around for another 45 minutes. So I see that there's some questions coming in. I'm going to get through them all slowly. Where are we here? Nabi, let's talk games. What are the best games to talk about from the lens of architecture? No Dark Souls. Why not Dark Souls? I'll come back to that, Nabi, but tell me why not Dark Souls? Trent, busy with an assignment. Nathaniel, Barry, Buildner's micro home competition. We love small boxes. Tell me about that competition, Buildner. Buildner work with Arc Daily, is that right? I think so. Ilon, I'm starting my MArc applications now, so any advice? I know you returned to Queen's University Belfast, i.e., where you did your undergrad. Did you think that was the right choice? Why did you make it? Um, why did I make that choice? It was easy. That is the reason why. That choice was easy, and I knew that masters would be difficult, and I wanted to give myself the very best chance to do the best work I could do at masters. It was a combination of things because when I was a part one, so when I was in your position, I went to London. I worked in London for 2 years, more or less. And I went to London for 2 years, more or less. I don't know, what was it like? I was like 14, 15 months, and I did traveling in between, but it felt like I was in London for 2 years. And I was working at a practice, and one of the architects I was working with, he was teaching at London Metropolitan, and he was like a really good architect, and he was always like no, come to London next year, like you can stay, you can work here part-time. This was before the apprenticeship model came in. It was like you could do maybe a day a week here, and you could, study in London. So I went to the interview at London Met, and I was interviewed by, I don't know if anybody knows Florian Bagel in the chat. Florian Bagel and Philip Christo, just two incredible architects. um and they were like amazing and super positive. And I had like a little tour around the studio in London Met, and it just sort of dawned on me that it would be doing studying architecture would just be on hard mode doing it in London. It would be so expensive. It would have been such a struggle for me to do. I wouldn't have been as familiar with the institution. At the time, I don't think every student got their own desk. There was no guaranteed studio space. I'd be living in a flat share with 7 people, 100 miles away from the studio. Why do it to myself? And at this time, I was sort of burnt out in London. So I just thought, you know what? All my best friends are going back to Queens. I know Queens. It's close to my family. And I was like, I'll do another 2 years and come back to London. And it was like the best thing I ever did. Like, and I know everyone will have different viewpoints on that because they often were encouraged to go do different things. Do your part one here, do your part two there. I've never met anyone who did their part one at Queens, did their part two somewhere else, and regretted it, which is my way of saying you won't make the wrong choice, probably. But for me, it was the perfect thing to do. And at the end, like I met my wife in masters. So it was absolutely like the right thing to do. And I wouldn't have met her probably if I hadn't gone back. So that was another perk of going back. So yeah, go to Queens. You might meet your wife. Everyone in the chat wants to do their masters, or you might meet your future husband, or who knows. Um, and like the teaching at Queens, like obviously like Rebecca has left Queens now, but like the teaching at Queens is always amazing. Like you get like incredible tutors there, and the course was good, and Belfast is an amazing city. But Elon, are you thinking of going anywhere else specifically? I just think like it's funny because if you're Irish, or if you're from like the north like I am, it's easy to knock Queens because it's just up the road, and then you realize like what a great university it is. And I don't know if there's anyone else here who's in a similar boat, like, but do what's best for you. Like at the end of the day, the institution you go to doesn't matter. The name of the university doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is your portfolio and your CV. And you can sort of do that independent of what university you go to. Some of the worst architects I've ever met graduated from the most prestigious schools. And some of the best architects I've ever met come from universities I'd never heard of. So do what's best for you. Do what's comfortable. Do what you know. Like, and I like to do things the hard way. I don't shy away from a challenge. But even that made perfect sense to me. So I hope that's helpful. Sorry. I hope that's helpful. What else we got going on here? Welcome, people. We're up to 11 now in the chat. Get your questions in. I'm here until 9 o'clock. Say hello. I've completely lost track here. Elon, I'm looking at a few hopeful options in Europe and then also in Ireland for context. Ireland is as good as anywhere, in my opinion, but maybe I'm a bit biased. Trent Allen. Hold on, I'm just reading this here. Any advice on networking? Because I know that's like the most important thing when trying to get a job. It is and it isn't. It depends where you want to get a job, Trent Allen. Where do you want to get a job? I've worked in a ton of places and I don't think I've ever once gotten a job. I've gotten one job because I knew people through a network, I suppose. I've never, and I know a lot of people don't agree with this, okay? And this might be bad advice. I've never really believed in LinkedIn. LinkedIn's just a social media app for me. Like I go on it sometimes when I'm really bored and just see what people are up to. Oh, so and so just got a new job, and sometimes I get tagged in posts. And I get a crazy amount. I get a lot of followers on LinkedIn now, even though I never post. I think people see my content and then they're like, "Oh, where did he used to work? Is he any good? Was he any good?" And then they like come check my like CV or whatever, which is just completely fractured and makes no sense. Um, I once went to the pub with an architect about a year ago, and he said to me, Trent, this is relevant to your question, by the way. He said to me, he said to me that his professor said to him, his professor came into the studio one night to see that all the students were working late, and he said, "Why are you in the studio working? That's not how you're going to have a career." He said, "You guys need to be in bars and restaurants and meeting people." So maybe Trent, get out of the studio, go for a walk, go to a coffee shop, meet people, because that's where, if I mean, there's getting a job and then there's starting a practice, and I know they're two different things, but you know, I'm trying to think. I mean, your university network right now is a good start. Like the people, that's why I'm a big fan of working in the studio, because you don't just meet friends, you also meet potential partners, collaborators, colleagues later. Also, your professors could be an avenue to a job. I say this quite a lot. I used to study with a guy, and he used to dress up really good for his crits. And we used to make fun of him. Like he wouldn't wear a full suit, but he would like dress up. He'd wear like the blazer. Sometimes he'd wear, I don't know, he'd look fancy, right? And we were like, why do you always look like you're dressed for a job interview? Because the rest of us would just be sitting in our t-shirts, just or I don't know, sweaty t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. We'd say, why do you always look like you're dressed for a job interview? And he said, because I am. Because every single crit is like a job interview. And this is how you network. This is how you get an opportunity for an internship, or this is how so and so recommends you for a job. This is how you get headhunted. So in a way, the studio system should be the beginning of your network. Does that make sense? Is that useful? Because other than that, the only thing I can say is friends and family, and not everyone has that network. I completely understand that. A lot of people get their first jobs because daddy knows someone, and that's okay. I'm not a hater. Like I don't bash anyone who gets jobs and opportunities that way. That is how the world works. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I didn't have that available to me. So it was hard work for me getting my first job. But once you get a job, then you can start building that network. And then you can get recommendations and references, and you can hear about jobs, and you can get recommended for things. And it's a snowball, and it just starts building over time. So Trent, I hope that's useful. That's my advice on networking. It happens naturally. Don't force it. And you're probably already building a network right now. Like in a really strange way, like what we're doing here is sort of a network. Like we're all sort of, because I see a lot of the same names here every week. There's 7 or 8 of you who are here every week. Like that's a network, you know. Like if I was hiring, if I had a company, I'd be like, oh, I already know 7 or 8 architects who'd be interested in work. Do you know what I mean? Social media, but not LinkedIn. I don't trust LinkedIn. Having said that, yeah, a couple of jobs have come to me though through social media since I started making videos about a year ago. That's interesting. And I'm not the only person who said that recently. There's quite a lot of architecture content creators who are picking up jobs this way, which is weird, right? Because I would have thought my persona on social media is like a repellent to clients, but in a way, it's actually pulled them closer. Don't know, strange. But let me know, Trent, if that's helpful. Zed, you said you've never known a bad Swedish architect. I haven't, because they're trained really well. I don't know. I don't really know how else to explain that. I've also only ever worked in one Swedish practice, so my perception is quite skewed. And that doesn't mean that there aren't bad Swedish architects, but then, this is a difficult space to navigate when you think about it. Like, what is a bad architect? I've never met a stupid architect. Have you ever met a stupid architect? It's impossible to meet a stupid architect because, I mean, they have like 3 degrees and like 10 years of professional experience. There might be architects who are better than others, and there might be some architects who aren't as sharp as others, but there's no such thing as a bad one. Like it's almost sort of like, but in Sweden in particular, like I just think the Swedish system's so on top of things that I've never met a bad one. They're all incredibly competent. I don't know. Zari said, does that tie into something I've said previously? Maybe there's more to that question. I don't know. Um, I guess you could apply that question though to other countries as well. Well, 15 now in the chat. Welcome, people. Get your questions in. I'm going to be here until 9. Sorry, Zed. I hope that's helpful. I'm not sure. Nabi, you had a whole video on it. Dark Souls, yeah, which is good. By the way, love John Stone's museum. I go there every time someone comes to town for the first time. I do that as well. Well, when I lived in London, I did. It was like, oh, you got to see it. And like, I've never brought someone there who was like, whoa, it's amazing. Resident Evil is a very good architectural video game series. Maybe I'm working on a long form video essay about that right now. Coming up to Halloween, maybe not. Don't know. Nathaniel Barry, I believe so, unfortunately. Nathaniel, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. What happens if you win? Does it get built? Or is it like a speculative thing? Is there cash? Is there prize? If you win, give me some. Elon, I have a top 3 in Europe: Delft, Polimi, and Zurich, but QUB is number 4 or maybe higher. I loved Queens, the school, the staff, the city. Don't know. It's weird. Elon, if I was you, I'd be like, go for it. Do Delft. Go to Zurich. Go for it. Just do it. You'll have fun. It'll be amazing. You'll never know what the alternative could have been. Because I remember being like completely torn between, oh, London, Belfast. I don't know. It didn't matter. I never, ever, ever think, oh, what would have happened if I went to London? You just don't. Because this is the thing. At the stage that you're at in your career, the master's degree feels like this massive mountain in the distance that you're going to have to climb. But really, once you climb it, you're like, it was a foothill. Like, it was so small and insignificant. Like, it really is in the context of your career. It's a blip. It just goes so fast. So don't worry about it. And it's nice to have options. I think you'll be fine. Akash, hello. Have been working in a firm for a year now in India. Have decided to pursue my master's. Could you share your views on how to choose a course? I sort of touched on this a little bit, but I'm happy to get a bit more in depth with this one. What are the studio spaces like? Who is teaching? Do you want to learn from those people who are teaching? And when I say that, like, a lot of master's programs have visiting architects and architects who have their own practices running studios. Do you like their stuff? Because if you do, then you should learn from them. And that's pretty much it. I was saying earlier, like, I don't really care about the reputation of the institution or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But if the teaching's good and if you're excited about studying there and you got good studio space, then that's a good start. Also, talk to students who are either in the course or have been in the course that you're looking at. And I'm trying to think if anything else comes to me. I'm not sure. But I'm happy to come back to that. Guys, let me know what you're thinking here. We're about halfway through the stream. We have 15 people in the chat. If you haven't introduced yourself yet, now is the chance to say hello. Are you working late? Are you in the studio? Are you in the office? Are you retired? Are you like me? You're just sitting at home thinking about this competition you're supposed to be working on, but you're leaving everything to the last minute because you're just a professional procrastinator, and this is what I do all the time. What's up? Have I missed a question here? Oh yeah, and get your questions in before the time is up. But Nabi, I'm also thinking about other games. See, it's funny because when I made this channel, I'm learning about YouTube. Obviously, I've been doing YouTube for a year now, and these streams are like I did my first stream back in June, and now I'm planning to do them every week, which is great. I love doing them. But I'm learning about YouTube, and I know that a lot of people start YouTube and then they just want to make what they want to make. But I'm in the architecture box and I'm never going to get out of the architecture box now because I'm an architect and I love talking about it, but I love talking about other things as well. And I love talking about game design. The problem is that if I ever want to talk about game design on this channel ever again, I have to somehow square that with architecture. So that's why I like making these really long, well-produced video essays that show people that video games are architectural and that a lot of architecture is also game design in a really weird way. And I'm not the only content creator out there who's doing that type of stuff at the minute. But I mean, yeah, like Resident Evil is very like Dark Souls in a way, and very like the Sound Museum, which is very like my thesis, which I talked about a lot last week. So I'm going to try to not talk too much about it. Akash says, thank you. You're absolutely welcome. Just talk to people, find out people. Like, I mean, that's what I did. I mean, Queens, like you get the lay of the land. You know, like you figure out, like, because you might meet someone and they're like, oh, do not study there. It was the worst 2 years of my life. And then, Gabrielle, hello from NYC. Welcome. Just a second. Get a drink here. Do you travel to see architecture? Yeah, a little bit of both. So, for example, like when I was a student, I was really poor. And Pedro, hi, I will get to you in just a second. Sorry, I'm just thinking of. Oh, sorry, you don't have a question. Hi, Pedro. Pedro, welcome. Sorry, do you travel to see architecture? I don't go anywhere without visiting buildings that I can see, but I don't make purposeful trips now just to see buildings. For example, I was in Brussels this summer. Yeah, Brussels. And I knew that I wanted to see who's the house by the Art Nouveau house? Victor Horta. What's the name of that famous house? It's beautiful. I'm gonna put it in the chat here. I knew I had to see it, but I just I couldn't fit it in. And I was in Rome a couple of years ago and I didn't see Maxi, but I did see the Pantheon and I did see the Colosseum. I was in Greece a couple of weeks ago and I did see the Parthenon. So I usually try to see the blockbuster thing that you got to see. And then if I'm lucky and I've got time, I'll go for the deep cuts. But I was in Japan last year and I had like a massive list of buildings to see. I'd barely seen any of them. And it's okay, like, because I say this all the time, often the photographs and the drawings are better than the actual reality. And I know there's people who will say you haven't really seen the building until you've been to the building, but I also think that's a massively privileged position to take. Like, I remember going to architecture school and professors and tutors, you'd put up a reference on a wall and they'd be like, yeah, but have you been to it? And it's like, I am a broke student. I do not have £4,000 to go see this building in Korea, but I like the photo and I like the drawings. And it's like, you know what I mean? So maybe I'm just reading more into your question. Do I travel to see architecture? I do travel quite a bit. And I almost always try to see something, but I like visiting buildings on my own. Is anyone else like that? Like if I'm traveling with a group and they're not architects, I'll usually drift off. I'll take an afternoon and go see some stuff that I want to see. I don't know if that helps answer your question. Maybe there's more to that. Sorry about that. I hope that's helpful. I do travel though, but I very rarely go just to see a building. Yeah, Gabrielle, hello from NYC. Welcome. Are you working, Gabrielle? Or are you a student? Petro, hello. I'm living in Ukraine, so I stopped my way in architecture. So I went to since just drawing in free time. Well, yeah, I mean, drawing is a good way to spend some free time if you can get it. But yeah, sorry to hear that. If I understood that correctly, you've stopped your way. Sorry, Petro, if I'm not understanding that correctly. But welcome, and thanks for saying hello. Trent, do you think we are ever going to get a point in time where there are architects designing spaces in a virtual world where people can visit through VR? Yeah, we are already there. That happens all the time. Oh, sorry, Petro, I'll get back to that. We're already there now. Like, that's what games are. Like, they don't hire architects. Oh, Petro, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for joining, studio supporter. I don't really plug the studio membership, but I do have a membership here. It's literally just to support the studio. There's absolutely, there's no obligation to do it, but it's there. Thank you very much, Petro. Sorry, so Trent, Yeah, I mean, that's what game design sort of is, only they don't use architects to design it. They use game designers to do it. And I'm really fascinated with this idea that like an architect can't design a game and a game designer can't design architecture, but they both sort of do the same thing in a weird way. I could articulate that better. But Rebecca and I, so I don't know, you guys, I know some of you have seen that who are in the chat. We made a film this summer and it's rigged for VR. Like you can go into it now. Like it's not that complicated to do necessarily. The problem with VR, and I don't know if anyone in the chat uses it, VR is not a fun experience. It's clunky, it's stressful, it's heavy. It can make you nauseous. I don't know, I'm not entirely sold on VR as a thing. VR is sort of in the AI basket for me where it's like maybe someday, but I'm not investing massively in it right now. However, having said that, I do own a headset. It was expensive and I don't use it that often, but there we go. But your question was, are we ever going to get to a point in time where there are architects designing spaces? There are practices who do this already now, right? The thing is, someone explained this to me. The clients, for example, right? Yeah, Hadar, also not a big fan of VR. It's because someone explained this to me. I remember thinking, okay, so a lot of people, just general people, struggle to understand architectural drawings. And so you would imagine, right, that, okay, great. VR then would be useful for them as a client, okay? Because you don't need to explain the drawings. You just want to say, hey, do you want to see what your new house is going to look like? Put on the headset, come for a walk. But then someone explained to me that you're going to have to charge a premium for that service. And that the real clients who want to pay that premium for like a VR experience in the design process are not the clients who don't understand drawings necessarily. So there's a strange gap in the market where the ones who could probably use VR the most probably won't want to pay for it because it's an extra thing. So I don't know. I've thought about this, like how do we integrate that technology into architectural services, but it just always feels extra to me, not essential. And it's a bit like what I'm always saying, like, oh no, Arc Daily's closed. We don't have references anymore. It's like, no, we have libraries. We have books. We do have references. So what I'm getting at is like, oh no, like without VR, we won't be able to communicate to the client. It's like, no, we have got models. We have physical models. We still have CG images. Trent, you set me off on one here because I'm just sort of really thinking about this. I don't know if that's helpful. I think we're already in that era, and I think this era is sort of showing me that I don't think VR is going to stick around in its current state. It's going to have to evolve. But yeah, Hadar, I'm also not a big fan of VR. Yeah. Gabrielle, I'm at the office working. Your competition series was the best to see while I'm working. Gabrielle, you're crazy. Why would you watch architecture content as you're making architecture? I mean, like that is overload, especially my architecture content. Like I must just stress you out more. But thank you very much for the kind words. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Chat, while we're here, I'm looking into a new series. Any suggestions? Someone made a point about a competition I'd never heard of this week. Something about the Great Egyptian Museum. Anyone know that? I don't want to do 623, but I do want to keep the review series going. So I'm looking out for like the next series, if that makes sense. And Kit, welcome. Love your Helsinki reviews. I'm doing a collage round design competition myself. Would you do a live review? Is this of your own entry, Ankit? Am I understanding that correctly? Do you have something here? Trent Allen, I think it's evolving to those VR glasses. But even then, it's the same problem, right? Because if you think about it, the 3D model that you're making now in practice or in studio, it's not rigged for VR. You know, it exists to be looked at through the screen. So everything has to be calibrated again. So it's an extra layer of work. You know, you have to track it for VR use. I mean, yeah, you can just put on the goggles and you can go in, you can orbit it like you do with Google Maps, but that's not exactly an experience that you want to be selling to people. Maybe it is, I don't know. But it's not simply just the hardware, it's also the software, and it's also the way in which it ties in with architectural communication and representation. It's deeper. I think it's a bit deeper than just me not liking the clunky headset. It's a workflow that I don't fully grasp. Like, who is it for? Because as an architect, and I can't speak for everyone, right? Maybe this is a wild thing to say. I can sort of see it. I don't I don't need to visualize things for me because I can usually see it because I'm designing it. So like I can sort of see it. So the VR model isn't really a tool for me. It's more of a tool to make your point really to a client or to convince someone. Or maybe on buildings, maybe obviously I know there's ways that it can integrate with BIM models and stuff on site. That's probably really useful. Like VR snagging is something I've heard about. Later stage work, it's probably more valuable maybe. Design wise, I don't know. Bit gimmicky maybe. What else we got going on here? Gabrielle, we used VR in a project in 2017 just because we were modeling everything, but I think now it's only render 2D. Yeah, you know what? It's funny that you say that, Gabrielle, because it was 2017 when I used it in practice, and we just used it as a gimmicky thing just to show a client. And like, I remember going into the model and be like, everything's just white, like it's boring. And then the models that I make now in Unreal Engine are hyper detailed, like photorealistic lighting, materials, and everything photorealistic. And I just think, yeah, but like the VR isn't adding anything to it, especially when you can't touch. And that's a very philosophical debate that I'd be open to have with someone who really wanted to push it, is that architecture is haptic. It's not just visual, it's sensory. You want to touch things, you want to feel things. Do you know what I mean? It's still a little bit uncanny just seeing something. It's like you're looking through a window. It's a bit, I don't know. My headline is not architecture VR, not yet. Maybe soon? I don't know. Have I missed something here? Ankit, yup, my own entry for a competition among my batchmates. So explain this competition to me. Is it one that you're running, or is it one that's open for people to see? Live review. That's dangerous territory, guys. I do not think you want me to do live reviews on this channel. XL24. Abe, been wanting to catch you live. Good to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining XLead24, if I'm saying that correctly. Thanks for saying hello. People, we got about another 18 minutes left, so get your questions in. Just hanging out here now at the minute, having a good time. Hope everyone's having a good time. Hope everyone's not working too hard. What is going on here? Okay, all good. Even like, I'm a massive gamer and VR gaming doesn't even appeal to me, which is funny, right? I don't know. Sort of waiting for things to, everything's just hype at the minute, right? Because I bet now whatever the next iteration of VR is will also come with like AI. You're like, whoa, I don't need an AI VR headset experience. Like, I don't need that. I don't think anyone needs that. Hadar, maybe for the next series, examining the 24-hour competition might be fun. What 24-hour competition is that? Is that one I've missed? XLead24, I'm at work right now making some side plans. I enjoy your hot takes on Instagram. You know, I have to say, people say that. I don't think my takes are that hot. I think I just say what a lot of people think. I just like making the video about it. I can't stand it when I make a video and someone comments being like, that's not the way it is for me. And it's like, yeah, that's the way it is for me. That's why I made the video. You go make your video. Sorry, but thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy it, XLead24. I'm still navigating content creation and how to deal with weird comments. Sometimes people just want to pick a fight. Don't know. There you go. Gabrielle, I think many architects don't see their projects and they need to see it on VR or in good quality render as options. You know, I didn't mean to sound very exclusive when I said that. And I know, even I know that if I have an idea and I can visualize it, I still need a sketch or a model or a little mock-up just to know. Do you know what I mean? Like, even I know that it still needs to go another, sorry, it needs to go another level. Oh, I need more water. I mean, that's just part of the creative process, I suppose. It's not enough to just keep it in your head. It's collaborative. You got to share it with someone. That's the whole point. Oh, sorry. I just don't know what VR does, I guess, really. I don't know. M says, do you have any unusual sources of inspiration for your work? The thing is that I don't really know what my work is anymore. I kind of do a lot. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to describe because, like, I'm a freelancer. I do a lot of visualization, but I do a bit of illustration. I do a bit of filmmaking. I do a bit of content creation. I do like a lot of stuff now. And I think that's because I like lots of things and I try and put lots of things into my work. And I like looking at other mediums. Like, if you're like me and you grew up on Pinterest, architectural drawing, as we know it, is sort of peaked. Like, we've seen it all. It's very rare that we're going to discover a new style or form of representation by simply regurgitating styles that we've seen in the past. So I think and I think I'm going to answer your question, Em. I'm going on a tangent. It's sort of why I fell in love with City, Sky, and Sea so much. And that the quality of presentation was so rich and diverse. It was like, I'm trying to think of a good example. It was like freestyle. It was like, oh, we're incredibly skilled. We're going to use every visualization trick in the book to sell you on our vision for this project. Sketches, physical models, renders, 3D models, CGI images, technical details, photo collage, melting ice models, paper models, photography, everything, and like that presentation, in my opinion, is a masterclass for a student to see ways and methods of presenting your work like an architect. Like an architect, though. For me, in my professional experience, I've been through that gauntlet. Like I've worked on competition submissions like that, which is why I respect it so much because I know how much work goes into it. But what I'm getting at is it bores me a little bit at the same time. I never see it and think, I never see new ways of, I never see new work and think, whoa, 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 whoa. But, which is why I strive for inspiration in other things, new technology, new things, new media. Like, I love anime. I love graphic novels. I love I love novels. I love art, but I like all types of art. I like illustration. I like concept art. I like 3D art. Like, I've not really had the opportunity, but like if you see any of the work that Rebecca and I do, it pulls from all these things. Rebecca's very fond of an illustrator. I'm gonna say this wrong. I think it's Rachel Carson. Just an incredible illustrator who does these just these beautiful illustrations. And I don't know, like I think architecture to a certain point, until it's built, it's just imagery, isn't it? So how how do you use imagery to tell a story? And what is the story you're trying to tell? And having looked at 623 entries with Helsinki, too many architects are trying to tell the same story. That's like my biggest takeaway. You all doing the same stuff. It's boring. Stop doing it. And then City, Sky, and Sea, they do the same stuff, but they did it at such an incredible level that I just fell in love with it. Because it reminds me, it's like, this is what it's like when it's good. How refreshing for it to be good. It's been so long since it's been good. And I can think of about 10 projects in that entire competition that come to mind that did that as well. And I'm going to make a video on those 10, my 10, like the alternative 10, the 10 that I really loved the most. But I'm still not answering your question. Do you have any unusual sources of inspiration? I don't think they're unusual sources. I just have different sources. Like I said, like my thesis project was inspired by Sown. But I also argue that Sown and Dark Souls are in somehow they share the same DNA, and Dark Souls and Resident Evil, the game, share the same DNA, and I grew up playing Resident Evil. So was the design of my thesis was inspired by Sown, or was it inspired by video games? It's a stupid question. Like, I know that, and only I really know the answer, and even I don't know the answer. But I would consider that an unusual source. Rebecca and I are judging these competitions at the minute, and you can really tell the ones who are not inspired by architecture and are instead inspired by different things because they just look better. They're way more exciting. We got 15 people in the chat now. Gonna hang around for another 10 minutes and get through the last of these questions. If you're here and you haven't said hello yet, what are you doing? Stop being impolite. Come say hello. Get your question in. I'm gonna hang around for another 10 minutes and I'm gonna get through some more of these now. I hope that was helpful though, Haydar, there is this architecture competition that you only have 24 hours to submit. It happens annually. I think I have heard about that. I'm just wondering how that would work for a review format. Actually, 24, maybe personal, but what's your lovely accent? Thank you. I wish I knew what my accent was. So I'm Irish. I'm actually from Derry and I studied in Belfast. And then I moved to London. But now I live in Sweden. And my accent is a combination of just everyone that I meet along the way. And I don't know what that habit is. It's not that it's mimicking. My accent just changes around the people that I'm with. It just happens naturally. So some people like to say that it's American, but I'm not. It's not American. It's just a combination of different things. So not Scottish though. People say that sometimes. They're like, "Oh, he's Scottish." Leon, hello, Kiahal. Leon, nice to see you in the live. Nice to see you outside of the Instagram notifications for a change, because I know we're often exchanging likes here and there. How are you doing, Leon? I hope you're having a good night. If you got a question for me, hit me up. We got 10 minutes, but thanks for joining. And nice to see you on YouTube. It's fun seeing people that I have actually only know on one platform and another one. It's like, oh, it's like, you don't go here. This isn't your school. What are you doing here? But no, Leon, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Hadar says, or maybe 120 hours. 120 hours, that's a grind for a competition. 24 hours is nice because that means you can probably spend 24 hours is a nice amount of time for a competition because that means you can probably spend like the first 12 hours doing nothing, and then you can sleep for 10 hours, and then you can just, whack something out in 2 hours at the end. That's how it works. I think that's the best stuff works that way. Just do it at the end. Just do it at the end. Pedro says, I also don't know what my work is right now. Do many things, try my best. That's it. Just do your best. Do what you enjoy, do your best, and don't hurt anyone. And you really can't go wrong. I'm talking about architecture exclusively here when I say don't hurt anyone, but like, just do what you enjoy. Like, you might not earn millions. None of us are going to earn millions, but there's money in architecture. So just do what you gravitate to. For me, it's competitions, reviews, content creation. Like, I just enjoy all that stuff. I like doing competitions, even though I don't like them, because you can be creative and it's a chance to draw, and maybe you can win and win a bit of money. I've done it before. It can work. And Kit, the competition is held between my classmates, held by our university. The design is for a new architecture block for the university. That sounds really fun. What university is it, Ankit? Gabrielle says, ha ha ha, same narrative. It's true though. I make this point all the time. Like, it's funny, right? Because without a doubt, the best entry in that top 5, in my opinion, was City, Sky, and Sea. The title of their project, though, is the same idea that maybe 200 or 300 of the projects had, which was like, oh, our architecture wants to tie together the city, the sky, and the sea. And it's like, okay, yeah, how are you going to do that? And they're like, we're going to build a 60-story monolithic cube. And it's like, that's not going to work. Do you know? It's so weird. Like, it's like they say one thing, they do a completely different thing. Where are we here? Trent Allen, did you ever watch Treehouse Masters with Pete Nelson? Such a goated series, really inspiring. I've never heard of this before, Trent. Tell me about it. I'll have to check it out in a second. I'm guessing it's about tree houses, though. That actually sounds good. Is it like a documentary? Thanks for your answer. And I thought you were going to do your own top list of the entries. I am going to. There's like a debrief I want to do so that people understand what my thoughts were on the competition, which a lot of people guess by now. Is like, I think it was a stupid competition. But there is something about, even though the competition was stupid, it was like a magnet for architects. 623 practices, that is. That's wild, isn't it? And it's so funny because I was like a moth to the flame when I first saw it. I was like, oh, we got to do this, got to do it, got to do it. I was putting it into like WhatsApp groups with my friends, but does anyone want to do it? And they were like, Crumley, that's mad. And I was like, no, it's not. We'll win. Didn't win. Didn't enter either, though. You could say I'm the biggest winner. You could. You could say that. You could say I'm the biggest winner because, you know, it's led me down this path, and here we are. Now I'm just talking about it all the time. What did Helsinki ever do to me? Nothing. I've never actually been to Helsinki. What have I missed here? Leon, I'm great, thanks. Good to actually chat. I know that the stream's good. The stream's good. Might be a bit personal, but I also have a Scandi partner, and my long-term goal is to move to Norway and work as an architect there. Second-year student in UK currently. Any advice? I do have advice. Yeah. Leon, if you don't mind me asking, you're UK based. Are you British? I think it's incredibly difficult to get a job in architecture in Scandinavia right now, from how I read. Yeah, you are. Cool. It's difficult to get a job here. I know quite a few architects who are they're based in Stockholm. They're from the States and they're from Finland, actually. And they agree it is difficult to move to these countries and get work in architecture. As for why, it's competitive. There's fewer jobs, and it's a whole different industry in a way. And I know that in Stockholm, from how I understand it, a lot of the big practices like to hire from Swedish universities, and that makes sense. So even when you get like an outsider like me, and I say that as someone who I moved here and got a job in like the largest practice in Stockholm, in Sweden, actually. So like I ended up I got work. So I'm saying that from a position of, how do you say? I'm not saying that, with sour grapes. I'm not saying, oh, no one wants to hire me because I'm Irish. Is it? No, 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 no. Like I got here, and within a couple of months I was working like the biggest practice here. Like it wasn't about that. It's just that generally that's how it is. That's an exception that I ended up in that role. I got that job that quickly. The problem then was that I just didn't want to work in architecture. I needed a break. I was burned out. So I went into animation for a while. But yeah, so what I would suggest, Leon, is plant some seeds now, like network a little bit now, hit up some practices now, meet people, because you're gonna need a network to get a job here, probably more than likely. I know you're talking about Norway, I mean specifically, and it's unfair of me to say it, but I assume it's quite similar in a way. But I'm thinking of practices in Norway, like I'm thinking of like Snøhetta, like they're quite an international practice, aren't they? So your odds might be better actually going to somewhere that's quite global. I worked at White, so I don't know if anyone knows White. White have practices globally as well, or at least in Europe. So that helped. I wasn't working for, a two-person Swedish operation, and I wasn't able to speak the language. Like I wouldn't have done that. I never would have had a chance, really. But yeah, make some contacts now. I think definitely. I hope that's helpful, Leon. Petro, yeah, you are a winner in this circumstance. I'm either the biggest winner, Petro, or I'm the biggest loser. And I'm happy to take either of those titles. Time will tell. Time will tell. They should have let me judge the winner, shouldn't they? That's why I'm going to do the alternative one anyway. But you had a question, I think. You had a question. I think you did anyway. I'm going to do a debrief, and I'm going to do a top 10. So the Crumley top 10. The 10 that I think were the best. And is it fair to do a winner? I don't think it is. I might just do my top 10. Like these are the best 10. Don't really care who would win. Or should I do a winner? What do you think, guys? Should I do a winner? Don't know. Wow, 15 people now in the chat. Welcome. Guys, I'm going to call it a night in a couple of minutes. This is the final call, okay? I'm going to need a bell because I do this every week. Like a bell in the pub. Like last round, get your last drink orders in. This is it. Last chance now to get your questions in, okay? So I'm going to give you one more minute. Leon says, people I've met in Oslo tell me the same. Really helpful. Thank you. No problem. Yeah. Always happy like to say what I can help with, but and you guys give me good questions, so I appreciate it. Guys, I'm going to give it one more minute to get the last ones in. In the meantime, Do me a favor. There's 16 of you here now in the chat. Um, as always, I say this every week. Guys, I love doing the streams. I love that you participate. I love that you get the questions in. It's so much fun. I want to do it every single week. There's only one thing I ask in return. If you're here right now, hit that big fat subscribe button. Just give me the sub, because I really want to grow the YouTube channel. I want to grow it now. That's what I really want to do. That's my sort of passion project now at the minute. Growing the YouTube channel, bringing more review content, meeting more of you, because this is a fun way to do it. It's much more fun doing the chats and the live streams and actually meeting people who I know watch and engage with the content, because it's just fun to do. I don't know. And I enjoy it. So that's an hour on the clock. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. And I'm going to see you next week. There is a Helsinki video coming. There's a lot of stuff coming actually, but the Helsinki video is the next on the agenda. Maybe my final one. I might have to run a poll on that to see how to structure it. But in the meantime, I'm going to be back next week for another CRUMCAST, same time again. Thanks so much for joining. Hope to see you next week. All the best and goodbye, team. Thanks again. See you soon.